Hello, hello. My name is Jean and I am a knitter. And happy 4th of July and happy Independence Day to those of us who are celebrating. I understand Canada Day was earlier this month. Yeah, so that's what we've got. Um, Today, I wanted to talk about something. I see all of these videos on how to knit faster. And I've watched many of them, and I do knit in the continental style most often. But I am not a fast knitter. I spend a lot of time knitting, but I'm not particularly fast at it. But I wanted to show, since I have put on the longest extended set of circular needles I could gather, my pie shawl. Ta-da! And it is based on doubling the circumference every time the diameter gets to be a certain amount larger. And Elizabeth Zimmerman first made this popular, and she called it pie shawl. And we seem to continue calling it the pie shawl. Oop. But it's actually really nice because you have these large areas where there are no increases, and then you have this massive increase row, and then you have a section where there are no increases. And it really works out well if you're designing. I decided to block the Wild Swan in sections on my ironing board. So every morning I pin out a little area, and then I spray it with my mister, and then I hit it with my steam iron, although the steam iron never physically touches the knitting. It's simply held above, and the steam helps the moisture penetrate all the way through because I'm not getting the entire shawl wet at once. I'm simply wetting areas and straightening them out, pinning them down, and then moving on after they dry completely. And the trick to letting them dry completely is forget that they exist and then come back the next morning. That's the trick. But it works. It's working very well. I'm very pleased with it. And I've been working on this pie shawl, which is the Equinox Surprise Shawl, I believe. It was a mystery knit along with a number of clues. I am up to clue 5, and I've just changed color for the second time, and I'm rather pleased with it. It's really looking nice. I'm going to enjoy this shawl. I like my shawls big because I have a huge wingspan. But I was sitting there knitting on a rather simple row where I had to knit 7 stitches, do a yarn over, knit 3 stitches, do a yarn over, 7 yarn over 3, yarn over 7, 3, 7, 3, 7, 3. And I was concentrating on how would I knit faster? And I got to the end of the row and there was an error. Things did not come out right. And I said, that's why I don't worry about knitting faster, because if I'm trying to knit fast, I can't knit the pattern. I get lost and I make mistakes, and that's not fun. So here I am working on ridiculously long circular needles, getting set up to do the next row, which is a purl row. One of the things I like about this particular pattern, and I like about all lace patterns, I prefer if you purl back rather than knit your way over, and then knit something funky on the way back, because it just makes it more and more ridiculous. But on this crazy long circular needle, I had to find all the connectors I own. But I just don't knit really fast. I spend a lot of time knitting, but speed is not my primary concern. I would much rather be accurate than fast. So, this is a boring row. Yay, I like boring rows. And as you can see, I really do like to knit. Eventually I'll take the extensions off, but I figured you didn't really need to see that process. But this is me knitting. And yes, long ago when I was in college, I learned how to knit and read at the same time. And I was actually doing a patterned sweater at the time with a knit and purl wavy pattern, but mostly knits because I was working circularly. And yes, I can knit and read. I knit very slowly, I read very slowly. But if you are studying something for college, reading fast is not always the way you want to go. So there are many people who swear up and down that there's a faster way to knit. And I say, you're more than welcome to use it, but it's not gonna be me. I don't knit fast. Do I care? Well, no. I would much rather knit for accuracy than speed. And so that's what I do. You pays your money, you takes your chance. But I don't know what I'm going to do when it comes time to block this one because, well, it's summer. We're dealing with 90-degree days, and it's going to even get hotter because it's just the beginning of July. So I've got time before it becomes shawl weather again. And I'll have to try pinning it out on my bed. But thank you for the tips. I will use some protective covering underneath so that the bed doesn't get wet and the towels don't distribute their moisture and all of that. So we'll see what happens. But until then, happy 4th of July, and just like me, keep knitting.